For decades, the AR-15 rifle has loomed large in American life. It's become one of the more prolific and controversial firearms in U.S. history, used in wars abroad and, tragically, in mass shootings at home. The NRA even calls it America's rifle, and it's now one of the most recognizable guns in the country. To some Americans, it symbolizes freedom and self-defense. To others, it embodies fear and loss. In the next 30 minutes, we will trace the AR-15's journey, from its technical roots to its role in American culture, policy battles, and identity.
The AR-15 story began in the 1950s. Engineer Eugene Stoner, working in a small Armalite garage, had already designed the AR-10, a 7.62 by 51 millimeter battle rifle, but he envisioned something lighter. Stoner scaled down the AR-10 to a smaller 5.56 by 45 millimeter cartridge, creating the first AR-15. This new rifle used aircraft-grade aluminum and high-strength plastics instead of heavy wood. Its direct impingement gas system and innovative parts made it significantly lighter with less recoil. These design breakthroughs produced a rifle that was easy for soldiers to carry and accurate to shoot.
The AR-15's construction was revolutionary. By using aluminum alloy receivers and polymer furniture, the rifle shed pounds compared to earlier designs. Its gas impingement operation meant fewer moving parts and smoother shooting. These innovations paid off. The AR-15 was far lighter than its contemporaries, with reduced recoil and enhanced accuracy. In essence, Stoner had created a space-age combat rifle long before outer space was a military concern. As designers hoped, this lightweight rifle promised to match or exceed Soviet AK-47 performance while being easier for U.S. troops to carry.
In 1959, as military interest grew, Armalite sold the AR-15 patent to Colt's Manufacturing. Colt saw potential and lobbied to supply U.S. forces. Initially, the Army chose the older M14, but Colt continued refining the AR-15. By 1960, the U.S. Air Force began secretly testing the rifle as a new carbine. Military leadership saw the advantages: lighter weight, high-capacity magazines, and the ability to deliver rapid semi-automatic fire. Slowly, momentum built within the Pentagon to adopt Stoner's design as a frontline weapon. In the early 1960s, U.S. forces in Vietnam needed a reliable, lightweight rifle for jungle warfare. Tests in Vietnam showed the AR-15's promise. Soldiers praised its portability and rapid fire. By late 1963, Defense Secretary Robert McNamara ordered it adopted as the XM-16E1 to become the M16. The U.S. Army bought roughly 85,000 of these rifles by 1963. Suddenly, the AR-15, now the M16, became America's standard battle rifle, replacing heavier predecessors. War would put the new rifle to its test. Early in Vietnam, the M16 suffered from jamming issues due to unplated barrels and contaminated ammo. Under combat stress, malfunctions occurred that Colt and the military quickly addressed. Field modifications like chrome-lined barrels and cleaning kits dramatically improved reliability. Through these trials, the AR-15/M16 proved itself effective. By the late 1960s, it was combat-proven, and later conflicts, Iraq, Afghanistan, continued to see U.S. troops wield updated AR platforms. The rifle's role had expanded from jungle patrols to desert bases across the globe. Back home, Colt saw a commercial opportunity. A few years after Vietnam began, Colt released a semi-automatic-only AR-15 rifle for civilian sale. This model could fire 1 round per trigger pull, but not full auto. Initially, these rifles were niche, popular mainly among enthusiasts and competitive shooters. Over time, however, more Americans began buying them for sport, recreation, and self-defense. By the 1970s and 1980s, the AR-15 quietly spread into gun shops and shooting clubs nationwide. Let's break down how it works. The civilian AR-15 is a lightweight, semi-automatic rifle firing the 5.56 by 45 mm NATO, .223 Remington round. It is gas-operated and magazine-fed, typically using 20 or 30-round detachable magazines. This means gas from each shot pushes the bolt back to load the next round. An empty AR-15 weighs roughly 6 to 7 pounds. Importantly, because civilian law requires it, the AR-15 can only fire 1 shot per triggered pull. In other words, it is restricted to semi-automatic mode, unlike the military M16, M4 rifles. The rest of the mechanism, stock, barrel, receiver, can appear identical to the military version.
One of the AR-15's biggest draws is how customizable it is. Many owners liken it to Lego for grown-ups. Every component can be swapped. Want a shorter barrel? A collapsible stock? A fancy scope or flashlight? It's all easy to mount. In fact, its customizability has earned it nicknames like adult Legos. Hobbyists take pride in building rifles suited to their needs. One for hunting, another for target shooting, and even pink camouflaged models marketed to women. This versatility means each AR-15 can look very different, reflecting its user's personality and purpose.
Despite looking alike, the civilian AR-15 differs legally from its military counterpart. By law, an AR-15 is built so it cannot fire in full auto. In practical terms, this means every civilian AR-15 operates the same way. The trigger must be released between each shot. A military M16 or M4, by contrast, has settings for burst or automatic fire. These internal differences are strictly regulated. In other words, your neighborhood AR-15 might have the same metal and plastic parts as an M16, but only one pulls auto. The effect on shooting experience is minimal, but the legal distinction is critical.
In 1994, after high-profile shootings, Congress passed an assault weapons ban. This law prohibited the sale of rifles with certain military-style features. Many AR-15 variants fell under the ban's purview. For 10 years, making a new AR-15 with a bayonet lug, pistol grip, or thumbhole stock was illegal. Owners had to remove or modify these features if they already had them. The ban was contentious. Supporters argued it would curb mass shootings, while opponents called it cosmetic and argued it violated the Second Amendment. The AR-15, with its military look, was at the center of these debates. The assault weapons ban expired in 2004, and the effect was immediate. With restrictions lifted, manufacturers ramped up production of AR-15s. Sales exploded as gun makers produced rifles through the roof. Almost overnight, the AR-15 became America's best-selling rifle. Gun shops that had only a few stocked now filled entire walls with AR-patterned rifles. The flood of new models, from budget imports to boutique builds, meant Americans could find an AR-15 to fit any price or style. Enthusiasts often bought multiple guns, fearing another ban might come. By the 2010s, the AR-15 was ubiquitous. Estimates suggest close to 25 million AR-15 style rifles are now in civilian hands, roughly 1 for every 13 Americans. It's legal in all 50 states, though some states restrict features or magazine sizes. Polls indicate about 1 in 20 U.S. adults own one. In many communities, the rifle is as common as classic hunting rifles used to be. From Alaska to Florida, AR-15s sit in hunting camps, shooting ranges, and even family gun safes. Its silhouette has become as familiar as the Winchester of old. Civilians use the AR-15 for many purposes. Hunters in the South and Midwest praise it for taking feral hogs and varmints. One Texan rancher called it a great hunting gun that's pretty much indestructible. Its flat-shooting rounds can be handy at long ranges. It's also popular on the shooting sports circuit, where competitors value its light recoil and precision. For home defense, some families choose AR-15s with optics and lights for their perceived stopping power. In short, American owners have found uses in the field, on the range, and around the house. Tragically, the AR-15 has been the weapon of choice in many of America's worst shootings. In high-profile massacres, at schools, concert venues, and places of worship, AR-15-style rifles were repeatedly used. For example, shootings in Uvalde, Parkland, Las Vegas, Orlando, and Newtown all involved semi-automatic rifles of this type. In each case, the AR-15's large magazine and rapid fire meant more lives were lost in seconds. These incidents seared the rifle's image into public consciousness as a symbol of mass violence. In communities across the country, grieving families have memorialized victims with crosses, flowers, and photos. Each massacre sparked national outcry. Survivors and activists channeled their pain into politics, organizing marches, advocacy groups, and pleas to lawmakers. For example, after the 2021 Nashville school shooting, students held a kids' march calling for action. By 2023, even President Biden noted that a majority of Americans now support banning semi-automatic rifles like the AR-15. Politicians spoke emotionally of children's portraits as they called for change. These responses show how each new tragedy reignites the same familiar debate. The AR-15 has become a lightning rod in national politics. On one side, gun control advocates push for bans or stricter limits, arguing that such weapons have no place in civilian life. On the other, gun rights supporters insist on preserving Second Amendment rights, viewing the AR-15 as essential for self-defense and liberty. Bills to ban assault-style rifles have repeatedly failed in Congress. In fact, some lawmakers who once opposed gun control now express regret. After years of shooting after shooting, one senator admitted that if an AWB were voted on again, I'd vote for it, saying mass shootings had made clear it's everyone's issue. The issue remains fiercely divisive. The AR-15's image has penetrated American culture. Some Republicans even wear AR-15-shaped lapel pins to remind people of the Second Amendment. Meanwhile, gun control advocates use the rifle's silhouette on posters demanding common-sense gun laws. You'll see the AR-15 carved into bumper stickers, flags, and corporate logos, a polarizing emblem. As one reporter puts it, the AR-15 has become this iconic emblem that everyone in America wants to fight over. It stands for different things to different people, making it a powerful symbol of the gun debate itself.
The rifle has also marched off the battlefield and into living rooms. It's ubiquitous in video games, movies, and TV shows. Observers note that first-person shooter games like Call of Duty featured AR-style rifles that became familiar to players. Many young Americans grew up wielding an AR-15 avatar virtually before ever seeing one in real life. This pop culture presence has arguably normalized the weapon. It appears in news media and on social platforms dozens of times a day, whether portrayed as gear for heroes or villains.
For many Americans, the AR-15 embodies rugged self-reliance. Historians note that semi-automatic rifles have come to symbolize swashbuckling freedom and the rugged armed individualism of the American frontier. The NRA explicitly brandishes this symbolism. It calls the AR-15 America's rifle. At the same time, critics argue the gun undercuts that legacy by enabling mass violence. In short, the AR-15 has become woven into America's story, as a totem of Second Amendment pride for some, and as a warning sign for others. It reflects deeply held values about independence, security, and identity.
The clash over the AR-15 highlights America's struggle to balance freedom and safety. Gun rights advocates see banning the AR-15 as an assault on liberty. Gun control voices see allowing it as an indictment of policy. Understanding this rifle is key to understanding both sides of the gun debate. One scholar emphasizes that understanding the AR-15 is key to understanding the U.S.'s history with civilian gun ownership. Today, the rifle sits at the center of arguments about what it means to be free or what it means to be safe in the United States.
Even recent events keep the AR-15 in the headlines. In early 2024, an AR-15 style rifle was used in an assassination attempt on President Donald Trump. The irony was stark. The weapon touted by some conservatives was turned on their hero. News coverage made the AR-15 part of the presidential campaign conversation overnight. Such incidents show how the rifle's role can shift in an instant, from rallying cry to crisis catalyst. In the digital age, every high-profile shooting reopens the national debate on an hourly news cycle.
What's next for the AR-15? Technology is changing the conversation. Already, plans circulate to 3D print AR-15 receivers and parts. In theory, someone with a 3D printer could fabricate a working rifle at home without a serial number or background check. Meanwhile, advances like smart gun safes or bulletproof vests might alter how we think about owning rifles. Some legislators propose red flag laws or new training requirements. In the decades ahead, how Americans integrate or restrict the AR-15 will be shaped by these new tools and ideas.
Politically, the AR-15 has left deep marks. After years of deadlock, some politicians admit they misjudged the issue. By 2023, multiple former congressmen and senators publicly reversed course. For instance, one longtime lawmaker said he now believes an assault weapons ban would have been worth it given the toll of shootings. On Capitol Hill, the gun lobby remains powerful, but momentum for regulation has never completely died. The story of the AR-15 has even influenced elections, with gun policy often a key issue in tight races. All the while, states vary widely. Places like California and New York impose strict limits on AR features, while many others expand rights. The result is a patchwork of laws and a relentless political tug-of-war.
In the end, the AR-15 story is woven into the fabric of America. It encapsulates our ingenuity and our conflicts. It was created in a California garage, forged in war, and reimagined by countless Americans in living rooms and garages. It carries ideals of innovation and independence, as well as the reality of gun violence. One historian sums it up: tracing the AR-15's path is like untangling a knot of politics, influence, money, and culture in modern America. Today's debates over this rifle reflect the broader American struggle over how to live safely without surrendering liberty.
Researchers have examined the AR-15's impact in data. For example, since 2012, about 10 of the 17 deadliest mass shootings in the U.S. involved AR-15-style rifles. Public health experts note that while handguns still cause more deaths overall, AR-15s have characteristics like rapid fire and high-velocity rounds that can amplify casualties. One public health professor calls the AR-15 a glaring exaggeration of the core problem of gun violence in the U.S., meaning it often becomes the focus of the gun violence crisis, even though most gun deaths involve other weapons. These statistics feed both sides of the argument, underscoring how extraordinary the AR-15's lethality can be in each incident.
The AR-15 phenomenon is largely unique to the U.S. In most other developed countries, such rifles are tightly restricted or banned outright. For instance, after the 2019 Christchurch massacre, New Zealand prohibited nearly all semi-automatic military-style firearms. In Japan, gun ownership is extremely limited. AR-15s are essentially unavailable. Even in Europe and Canada, so-called assault rifles are highly regulated. Americans often point out that other countries with similar challenges have chosen very different policies. This contrast raises questions about national values and legal frameworks. Why does the AR-15 have such a different place in America than it does elsewhere?
Looking back, the AR-15's journey is full of ironies. It began as a privately funded experiment, became the Pentagon's standard arm, and then a civilian bestseller. A combat weapon evolved into a hobbyist's high-tech toolbox. An object designed for war became a flashpoint of domestic policy. As one journalist put it, nobody really understands how it developed and how it became this cultural symbol that everyone in America wants to fight about. Yet by exploring this history, we gain insight into America's values and conflicts. The rifle's story is a mirror, reflecting both the ideals of innovation and independence and the deep divisions over violence and rights. As we consider the future, one thing is clear: the AR-15 is not going away. Experts note it will undoubtedly be used in the future conflicts and incidents. Its technology continues to spread through new manufacturers and even DIY plans. The choices America makes now about regulation, training, research, and culture will shape the rifle's role in the years ahead. Will it remain a hallowed American rifle or become more tightly controlled? Will new generations see it as a tool of security or a symbol of tragedy? The answer depends on a national debate still in progress.
The AR-15 has become woven into America's story. It represents both our ingenuity and our conflicts. Today's young shooters inherit its legacy from Vietnam vets and 20th century engineers. Whether they turn it into another family heirloom or see it as a call for change will be decided in the coming years. In the end, the debate over the AR-15 is more than a debate about a gun. It's a debate about who we are as a nation, about liberty, responsibility,
and the kind of future we want. That conversation will continue wherever Americans gather, and the AR-15 silhouette will be there to remind us of what's at stake. For decades, the AR-15 rifle has loomed large in American life. It's become one of the more prolific and controversial firearms in U.S. history, used in wars abroad and, tragically, in mass shootings at home. The NRA even calls it America's rifle, and it's now one of the most recognizable guns in the country. To some Americans, it symbolizes freedom and self-defense. To others, it embodies fear and loss. In the next 30 minutes, we will trace the AR-15's journey, from its technical roots to its role in American culture, policy battles, and identity.